Hey, what up chicos, bienvenidos a HomieKarnal, mi nombre es Alejandro Hernández, su anfitrión. El día de hoy chicos vamos a estar viendo 60 ocupaciones diferentes chicos, entonces el video es un poco largo pero tengan paciencia chicos. También quiero agradecer que ya somos 41 suscriptores chicos, 41. Entonces chicos, después de eso, a darle chicos, que empiece el video. Bienvenidos otra vez a HomieKarnal. Aquí vamos a empezar ahora con las 60 ocupaciones, chicos. Les recuerdo, mi nombre es Alejandro Hernández, su anfitrión. Y empecemos. Tienen que saber, chicos, antes de las ocupaciones, es que el a y el an se utilizan para singular, dependiendo del comienzo de la ocupación. A is used before the words starting in consonant sounds, and an is used before words starting with vowel sounds. It doesn't matter if the word is an adjective, a noun, an adverb, or anything else. The rules is exactly the same. ¿Qué significa esto, chicos? El a se utiliza antes de las palabras que comienzan con consonantes y el an se utiliza antes de las palabras que comienzan con vocales. No importa si la palabra es un adjetivo, un sustantivo o cualquier otra cosa. Las reglas son exactamente las mismas. Nunca cambian, chicos. She's a student. He's an actor. He's a boxer. He's an architect. Okay, so, ¿cómo lo utilizamos en singular y en plural? I'm a teacher. She's a student. He's an actor. You're an athlete. They're teachers, en plural. We're students. You're athletes. Ok, recuerden, solo es la es al terminar de la ocupación. Hay unas reglas que les voy a ir explicando a modo vamos avanzando, que son un poco variables. Bien chicos, empecemos con las 60 ocupaciones chicos. Si les gusta este video, por favor suscríbanse, denle like y comenzamos. An actor, an actress. Recuerden, el actor es un hombre, an actress es una mujer. An athlete. El athlete se utiliza tanto como hombre y como para mujer. An assistant. Examples. Actor, actress. He's an actor. She's an actress. They're actors. We're actresses. Okay, como pueden ver, el she lo utilizas con actress porque es mujer. Y en plural, chicos, las terminaciones con S siempre se le agrega una E y una S. No simplemente la S, es ES. Actresses. Athlete. I'm an athlete. You're an athlete. They're athletes. You're athletes. Assistant. He's an assistant. She's an assistant. You're an assistant. We're assistants. An architect. An astronaut. A barber. Architect. He's an architect. She's an architect. They're architects. We're architects. Si se dan cuenta, chicos, la única diferencia en la ocupación de architect entre un hombre y una mujer es el sujeto que le pongas, el pronombre que utilices. He es él, she es ella. Astronaut. I'm an astronaut. He's an astronaut. You're astronauts. They're astronauts. Barber. He's a barber. You're a barber. They're barbers. We're barbers. A blacksmith. A boxer. A bullfighter. A blacksmith. I am a blacksmith. He's a blacksmith. They're blacksmiths. You're blacksmiths. Boxer. She's a boxer. He's a boxer. We're boxers. They're boxers. Bullfighter. He's a bullfighter. I'm a bullfighter. We're bullfighters. You're bullfighters. A bureaucrat. A businessman. A butcher. A bureaucrat. I'm a bureaucrat. He's a bureaucrat. They're bureaucrats. We're bureaucrats. Businessmen. She's a businesswoman. ¿Ok? El she es ella y men es hombre. Entonces tenemos que cambiar el men for women. You're a businessman. We're businessmen. You're businessmen. En este caso, chicos, el man lo cambiamos por men. Man es uno, men es plural. ¿Ok? Entonces, en este no agregamos S. Cambiamos completamente la palabra. Bueno, la letra. Businessmen, businessmen. Correct? Butcher. I'm a butcher. She's a butcher. They're butchers. We're butchers. A car mechanic. A caretaker. A cleaning lady. Car mechanic. He's a car mechanic. You're a car mechanic. You're car mechanics. We're car mechanics. Caretaker. I'm a caretaker. She's a caretaker. We're caretakers. They're caretakers. Cleaning lady. She's a cleaning lady. You're a cleaning lady. You're cleaning ladies. We're cleaning ladies. Como pueden darse cuenta, chicos, cuando la ocupación termina en Y, reemplazamos la Y por I latina y ponemos ES. Ladies. A clown. A conductor. A cook. Clown. I'm a clown. He's a clown. They're clowns. We're clowns. Conductor. He's a conductor. She's a conductor. You're conductors. We're conductors. Cook. I'm a cook. You're a cook. You're cooks. We're cooks. A cowboy. A dentist. A detective. Cowboy. I'm not a cowboy, en negativo. She isn't a cowgirl, porque es she, so cambiamos el boy por girl. She isn't a cowgirl. You aren't cowboys. We aren't cowboys. Dentist. He isn't a dentist. You aren't a dentist. We aren't dentists. They aren't dentists. Detective. I am not a detective. He isn't a detective. You aren't detectives. We aren't detectives. Recuerden, chicos, si ustedes no recuerdan cómo usar las contracciones tanto en positivo como en negativo, por acá en la esquinita de la izquierda les voy a estar dejando un enlace a uno de mis videos previos donde explico el verbo to be tanto en positivo como en negativo. Pueden ir a darle clic después del video. Y pues suscríbanse. Occupation. A diver. A doctor. An electrician. Diver. She isn't a diver. He isn't a diver. They aren't divers. We aren't divers. Doctor. I am not a doctor. You aren't a doctor. You aren't doctors. They aren't doctors. Electrician. She isn't an electrician. He isn't an electrician. You aren't electricians. We aren't electricians. An engineer. A flight attendant. A farmer. Engineer. She isn't an engineer. He isn't an engineer. They aren't engineers. We aren't engineers. Flight attendant. I am not a flight attendant. She isn't a flight attendant. You aren't flight attendants. They aren't flight attendants. Farmer. He isn't a farmer. She isn't a farmer. You aren't farmers. We aren't farmers. A fireman. A fisherman. A gardener. Fireman. I am not a fireman. You aren't a fireman. They aren't firemen. We aren't firemen. Volvemos a reemplazar el man for men. ¿Ok? El man es singular. El men es plural. Fisherman. He isn't a fisherman. You aren't a fisherman. You aren't fishermen. They aren't fishermen. Ok, volvemos a hacer lo mismo. Gardener. I am not a gardener. He isn't a gardener. We aren't gardeners. They aren't gardeners. A golfer. A guitarist. A hunter. Golfer. He isn't a golfer. She isn't a golfer. They aren't golfers. We aren't golfers. Guitarist. I am not a guitarist. She isn't a guitarist. You aren't guitarists. We aren't guitarists. Hunter. He isn't a hunter. You aren't a hunter. They aren't hunters. You aren't hunters. An interior designer. A judge. A kayaker. Interior designer. She isn't an interior designer. He isn't an interior designer. They aren't interior designers. You aren't interior designers. Judge. I am not a judge. He isn't a judge. You aren't judges. We aren't judges. Kayaker. He isn't a kayaker. She isn't a kayaker. We aren't kayakers. You aren't kayakers. Correct? A magician. A marathon runner. A musician. Magician. He's not a magician. She's not a magician. They're not magicians. We're not magicians. Marathon runner. I am not a marathon runner. You are not a marathon runner. We're not marathon runners. You're not marathon runners. Musician. She's not a musician. He's not a musician. We're not musicians. They're not musicians. Okay, como pueden ver, chicos, ahora estamos contrayendo el verbo to be y dejando el not por separado. Recuerden, si no saben cómo hacer esto, chicos, les estaré dejando el link del video de cómo contraer el verbo to be tanto como con el sujeto y cómo contraer el verbo to be con el not. Okay, en la esquinita la descripción. A nun. A nurse. A painter. Nun. She's not a nun. You're not a nun. They're not nuns. We're not nuns. Nurse. She's a nurse. He's a nurse. You're nurses. They're nurses. Ahí pueden darse cuenta, chicos, de el positivo y de el negativo. She's not a nun, negativo. She's a nurse, positivo. Painter. He's not a painter. You're not a painter. You're not painters. They're not painters. Otro ejemplo de cómo puedes usar el your con singular y con plural. You're not a painter. Tú no eres pintor. You're not painters. Ustedes no son pintores. A paperboy. A photographer. A pirate. Paperboy. She's not a paper girl. Recuerden, el she es para ella, entonces cambiamos el boy por girl. He's not a paper boy. They're not paper boys. We're not paper boys. Photographer. I am not a photographer. She's not a photographer. We're not photographers. You're not photographers. Pirate. He's a pirate. We're a pirate. They're pirates. We're pirates. A plumber. A porter. A prisoner. Yo sé que un prisionero no es una ocupación, pero hay muchos en el mundo. Hay que conocerlo. Prisoner. Plumber. I am not a plumber. He's not a plumber. You're not plumbers. We're not plumbers. Porter. She's not a porter. You're not a porter. You're not porters. We're not porters. Prisoner. I am not a prisoner. She's not a prisoner. They're not prisoners. We're not prisoners. A secretary. A soccer player. A spy, como James Bond 007. Secretary. She's not a secretary. He's not a secretary. They're not secretaries. We're not secretaries. Como pueden ver, la Y cambia nuevamente por I latina y es I latina ES. Secretaries. Soccer player. I am not a soccer player. She's not a soccer player. You're not soccer players. They're not soccer players. Spy. He's not a spy. She's not a spy. They're not spies. We're not spies. Nuevamente cambia la Y por I latina. Spies. A surgeon. A teacher. A thief. Otra vez, como el prisionero. A thief no es una ocupación, pero aquí en México muchos la agarraron de profesión. Entonces, a thief. Surgeon. He's not a surgeon. She's not a surgeon. They're not surgeons. We're not surgeons. Teacher. I am not a teacher. She's not a teacher. You're not teachers. We're not teachers. Thief. He's not a thief. She's not a thief. They're not thieves. We're not thieves. A truck driver. A waitress. A waiter. Como la actriz y el actor, chicos. A waitress es la mujer. A waiter es el hombre. A window cleaner. Bien, chicos, ahora vamos a empezar y les voy a mostrar las dos formas de utilizar la contracción del negativo. Truck driver. I'm a truck driver. He's a truck driver. You're not truck drivers. Or we aren't truck drivers. El verbo to be, el are, lo puedes contraer con el pronombre o lo puedes contraer con el not. You're not o we aren't. Waitress, waiter. He's a waiter, she's a waitress. El he es hombre, el she es mujer. Waiter, waitress. They're not waiters. We aren't waitresses. Recuerden, termina con S, le agregamos el ES. Waitresses. Window cleaner. You're a window cleaner. He's a window cleaner. You're not window cleaners. We aren't window cleaners. A welder. A X-ray operator. A zookeeper. Welder. I'm a welder. She's a welder. They're not welders. You aren't welders. X-ray operator. She's a X-ray operator. He's a X-ray operator. You're not X-ray operators. We aren't X-ray operators. Zookeeper. You're a zookeeper. He's a zookeeper. You're not zookeepers. We aren't zookeepers. Y con el zookeepers, chicos, llegamos a nuestras 60 ocupaciones, chicos. Muchísimas gracias, chicos. Thank you very much for watching this video, chicos. Recuerden, esto es HomieKarnal y no olviden, si les gustó el video, chicos, suscríbanse, chicos, denle like, comenten cuáles ocupaciones les gustaron y nos vemos en el próximo video. Gracias por ver. Esto fue HomieKarnal. Hasta la próxima, chicos. Espero que les haya gustado, chicos, las 60 diferentes ocupaciones. Les doy las gracias. Esto fue HomieKarnal, chicos. Hasta la próxima. Yo voy a ir a cortarme el pelo. Bye. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Gracias por ver. Esto fue HomieKarnal. Hasta la próxima, chicos.